Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. With the new masculine release from Parfum de Marly, Perseus, people are very curious to know how this fragrance compares to other popular, fresher scents in the Parfum de Marly lineup. So today, we're going to be doing a side-by-side comparison of Perseus with Sedley and Percival. These are the two fragrances that I've gotten the most requests to compare with Perseus. So we're gonna go over any similarities and what are the main differences between the three. So of course we're going to start with Perseus. I did post my official full review of this fragrance. If you have not seen that already, make sure to check it out. It will be linked in the description below. It's where I really dive in and go in depth about this scent. Everything you need to know about Perseus is in that video, so check it out. But this is the new release, 2024, ultra fresh, aromatic, creamy kind of citrusy scent. And this one is going to be very mass appealing, but still catering to a niche audience or a niche nose. It's just a very nice fresh scent done in a very elevated, luxurious way. It has some very creamy citruses, bergamot, we have a lot of grapefruit, that's really the star of the show in Perseus, along with some mandarin orange. It's not overly sweet or overly zesty, it's just very super smooth, creamy, but very juicy, creamy juicy. You get these very subtle, familiar kind of Aventus-like accords way in the background of this. This is definitely not copy, does not smell like Aventus, but you're going to get some sort of idea of Aventus way in the background because this has black currant, a very nice kind of jammy black currant with some ambergris. And you also get a dose of vetiver as well. A lot of people like to compare this to Terre de Hermes by Hermes. I don't really get that comparison at all. And also a lot of people like to compare this with things like Vibrato or Tiger. I don't really get that either because my favorite part about Vibrato is the ginger, this very spicy, zesty, kind of like uplifting ginger. It's not in this and it's nowhere near as citrusy zesty. It's very citrusy, but it's done in a very creamy way. So I think that the way that this is done, it kind of stands out on its own. It's definitely its own separate identity. But what I truly love the most about this scent is it has a beautiful, very luxurious cashmere wood. Really is just what takes this scent up to the next level, makes it very refined, very niche. But just keep in mind, it's going to be familiar, but once again, definitely its own identity, very mass appealing, and it's going to capture the hearts of many. I said in my full review that I predict that this is going to be a top seller of the brand easily. It's just so lovable, so easy. So now I want to put it up against Sedley. This is probably the one that people are most curious to hear about. How are they similar? How are they different? So Sedley, of course, is another massively popular freshie from the brand. Very aromatic as well, but much more complex than Perseus. It has this kind of attitude about it that I really like. It just has this confidence. Super lemony, very minty in the opening, a little blue, fresh from some lavender. And this one also has a very similar geranium note as Perseus. You'll find that Parfum de Marly really implements a lot of geranium in their masculine fragrances, and I feel like that's where you can kind of find the relation from the house. Throughout this scent is just in that geranium, because you definitely feel it in Sedley. This is also a very casual kind of daytime fragrance. Perseus is also very casual, very versatile. This scent is also very easy to wear any occasion. It's kind of sparkling in the opening, definitely a very elevated, everyday, casual type of scent. I just picture like a nice weekend brunch on the water at the Standard Hotel in Miami Beach. It just has this kind of cocky attitude about it that I really like, and that's always how I've described this scent in my past videos as old money. It smells like your dad owns a yacht and you're a trust fund baby and you don't have a care in the world. That's really the attitude that I think Sedley encompasses. I really like Sedley. It's a little bit more fresh and clean than Perseus because of that lavender note. Easy to wear day to day, feels a little bit dressy but still very lovable, and it's going to be a touch stronger than Perseus as well. There's going to be a little bit more density in Sedley compared to Perseus just because there's more going on in Sedley. It's just a bit more complex, which is not necessarily a bad or a good thing. It just depends on your personal preference and your own personal style, but still really, really nice. So that leaves us with Percival, I just have a little sample here. We're working with what we got, okay? Give it a little spray. I really enjoy the opening of Percival. I will say that. I know that I've said some not so nice things about it in the past, but the opening is really, really nice. Side note, do you ever think that you really dislike a fragrance? Like you tried it once or twice and you're like, nah, it's not for me. And then you come back to it later and you're like, oh no, I really like this. Percival for me is more of a love-hate relationship because I do really enjoy the opening of this, but it changes pretty quick. But I will say that Percival is a beautiful introductory niche fragrance. Like if you're just used to wearing designer scents, Percival is a great step into the niche direction. But I think that's pretty much the case for all Parfum de Marly fragrances. They're all so easy to love, but they're different from designer scents. They're more elevated, they're more classy, and a little more unique, but they all still have this very lovable, likable DNA about them. Percival, to me, it definitely feels like the dressiest out of the three. You could definitely pull this one off more in an office setting. You could wear this to a date night. It feels like something more occasion worthy. You get this kind of green, punchy balsam fir feeling with that same kind of lavender with that floral creaminess. This one has orange and hedione, which gives it a lot of sensuality and a lot of allure as well. It has some cinnamon and some coriander, and the base is bumped up with a lot of ambroxan. You get a lot of this ambroxan-y feel with amberwood and musk. This also has that signature geranium feel like I was talking about. The way that it's done in Percival, I think just kind of adds a slight kind of minty freshness, very slight. It's not like in Sedley where it's like mint. It's very subtle in Percival. There's definitely a lot of ambroxan in here. Like I said, feels more dressy, a little bit more grown up. I think that the opening is quite complex and really nice, but the dry down just doesn't really wow me. And this one in particular, I think what's kept me from getting a full-size bottle is that it's compared with things like Abercrombie and Fitch. Like it smells very, very similar to that in the dry down. Doesn't really wow me. I think that Percival is going to be a better, fresher scent for the office, or maybe even going out at night. Doesn't have that kind of same casual, carefree attitude that Sedley and Perseus have for me. It feels a little bit more serious, a little bit older. Not necessarily older, but you know, there's a time and place for more serious fragrances. Just doesn't have that very carefree casuality about it. So the question is, which one do I prefer? For me, it's going to be a very, very hard divide between Perseus and Sedley. I don't know, there's just something about Perseus. I'm so drawn to those like Aventus-y like elements way in the background. It's so attractive to me. I love the creamy grapefruit, very happy and outgoing, but Sedley on the other hand is very confident, it's very sexy, it smells very rich, and it has that Miami style that I really love. I love the complexity of it, and it seems to perform just a bit better than Perseus, but I will say that Perseus is the type of scent that needs to be on your skin and on your clothes. It's really just going to bloom off of your skin chemistry. It's really going to amp up the performance. It's really hard for me to say, oh, you should get this one or that one, or Percival. Poor Percival is being kicked out of the running. It's just impossible for me to say because they're so different. Like in my opinion, if you were to ask me, is it worth to have both? I would say yes. They're just so different. It's hard to say which one is necessarily better. I feel like there's a different time and place for both fragrances. Even Percival as well. The best thing that you can do is to get out to your local department store, Neiman Marcus, Saks, Bloomingdale's, places like that, and to test them out yourself. But yeah, guys, I hope that answered some of the questions that you might have about the differences between Perseus, Sedley, and Percival. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a comment below. If you've tried Perseus, what do you think about it? And which one do you prefer out of the three? I would love to know. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.